A hospital worker has stolen over £1 million worth of surgical equipment, vital tools desperately needed to save lives. The 39-year-old flogs the kits online and uses the profits to travel the world. NHS Fraud Investigation Manager Scott Fraser is in charge of the case and committed to bringing the thief to justice.
We were shocked to find that it wasn't 44 sets, it was actually 134 sets of surgical equipment that were missing. We were now looking at a replacement value of well over £1 million.
At a hospital in Ayrshire, a cancer patient has their operation cancelled at the last minute. The vital medical equipment needed has mysteriously gone missing. The local counter-fraud squad is called in.
Initially it sounded like a distribution issue, that the items potentially were there. But when we started looking at it in more depth, this was more than just one or two items unaccounted for. And that meant that we really needed to start investigating this in far more detail.
Scott joined the Counter-Fraud Authority 14 years ago.
Yeah, I've been in law enforcement in various guises for over 30 years now, so my past work experience stands me in good stead for this role.
And he'll need to use all his skills if he has any chance of cracking this case. Scott's initial task is to identify exactly what is going missing, and at first glance, it looks like it's specialist surgical trays.
They're essentially trays that surgeons will use during operations.
The trays hold all the equipment the surgeon will need and are tailored specifically for each procedure. Scott's next step is to work out just how many have disappeared.
So actually drilling down a little bit deeper to find out exactly how many there are in circulation and where they are will soon give us an idea of the potential scope for a case like this.
It appears over 40 sets of surgical trays have gone missing at a cost of between £10,000 to £14,000 each. This amounts to over £500,000 worth of equipment.
These items are not cheap, they're funded by the NHS. It's NHS money.
Scott is on a mission to discover how thousands of pounds worth of life-saving equipment is disappearing, putting lives at risk and robbing the NHS of much-needed cash.
We'd done some initial work on 2 or 3 of the surgical sets and followed them through the system. That got us started on the investigation, but even at that point we were starting to get more evidence in that there possibly was more missing. Obviously the health board and us were concerned about the lack of surgical equipment available for operations, and that did have an impact.
With the concern that more operations may be put at risk, Scott urgently needs to find out how these items are vanishing. He carries out an audit to work out exactly how many have gone already. The result is alarming.
We were shocked to find that it wasn't 44 sets, it was actually 134 sets of surgical equipment that were missing.
The total value of the lost equipment is now nearly £1.3 million.
There really was an onus on us at that point to say we now need to act quickly.
Scott wastes no time in tracking the sets through the system, using their unique serial number in the hope of finding the exact location in the hospital from where they're disappearing. The results hone in on one location.
On all occasions took us back to the decontamination centre.
This is a unit where all medical equipment is cleaned and sterilised before being returned to the hospital. It's a large place with more than 100 people working at the unit, every one of them with access to those surgical items.
And that's really quite a large sphere of people to try and track and narrow down the specific time and place that the items were being stolen.
Scott and his team cross-checked dates, times and people on duty against when the items were disappearing. one person's name keeps coming up.
My first thought was, we've made a mistake or that the records were incorrect. This was too good to be true. It couldn't all point to one person. So there was a little bit of suspicion about the figures and what the evidence was telling us.
The team checked the data, but the same name keeps popping up. The NHS Counter-Fraud Authority leads the way on dealing with and tackling fraud. Heading up in England is Sue Frith.
I think fraud against the NHS is despicable. We have a limited budget in the NHS. We all know that it's under pressure. But if criminals are taking money out of the system, then it affects us all. So that really motivates me.
A nationwide team of investigators have put more than £4 million back into the NHS.
I love this job. Knowing that we're stopping money going out of the health service, or where we're finding it, we're actually doing something about it and able to bring people who defraud the NHS to justice is a really satisfying feeling.
NHS fraud, as far as I'm concerned, is a theft from every single person in this country, including me.
Our health service costs us around £126 billion a year. It's a massive amount of money that needs to be looked after.
We investigate fraud in the NHS without fear or favour.
There is a local and national counter-fraud response who are looking for you to see if you have committed fraud, and if we find you, we will bring you to justice.
Everyone has a hospital story, and it usually revolves around the amazing nurses that care for you. For me, it was when my father fell ill, and my family and I spent a lot of time in and out of hospital. The kindness, the generosity, the compassion of the NHS staff made what was a very difficult time more bearable. However, for our next case, we have a trainee nurse who's more Cruella de Vil than Florence Nightingale. A student nurse who dishonestly claims tax credits and numerous grants and bursaries, ultimately swindling the NHS and Treasury out of £80,000. She splashes the cash on cosmetic surgery, designer handbags and jewellery, and a plush holiday home.
We just didn't know what we were going to find next. It was just mushrooming out, and it was probably one of the biggest cases I've had to deal with.
Today, the trainee nurse arrives at Merthyr Tydfil Crown Court, hidden in a prison van. This is the final day of a drawn-out 3-year investigation led by Craig Greenstock. He hopes to recoup thousands of pounds and put it back into where it came from, the NHS.
Hopefully, as part of today's hearing, the money can be reclaimed. However, if she does not have the full amount of assets, then it is down to the court and to the judge then to determine how much she should pay, or if she can't pay, then whether or not then she should have a longer prison sentence.